Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. And today we're going to be looking at Colorado, and we're going to be taking a look at their redistricting process. So my first video of this series I did on Maryland, and I pinned a comment on that video asking everyone what they wanted to see as the next part of the series, and there were a lot of requests, and I'm going to get to all of them hopefully. As I mentioned, I'm not going to do California, but maybe we can do uh, every state that has more than one. Like, we're not going to do Alaska or Wyoming, because those states only have one congressional district. But um, for the states that have the criteria is the state has to have more than one congressional district, and it has to not be named California. But Colorado, I think, is a good one because it'll be easier to do for me, but it's still a state that's going to be very interesting to take a look at. So first, we should just take a look at, and I know I didn't do this for Maryland, but we're going to review the current congressional map. So there are two competitive districts. There are some pretty solid districts. We should actually turn on labels. So for those of you who don't know, the most competitive district is the 3rd district, and we should actually shift this to. By the way, for data set, it's locked on composite 2012 to 2018, but we're going to have to talk about that in a second. But the 3rd district is the most competitive. It's where Lauren Boebert holds her seat. And the 6th district is also pretty competitive. I mean, we can just look at the numbers. The 6th is around D plus 8. The 3rd is around R plus 7. So, there's fairly competitive districts. And then there's also the 7th district, which is semi-competitive. It's not. It's just a little. It's barely safe, I guess you could say, or it's actually barely. Yeah, it's barely safe. So it's on the likely ground of safe, I guess. And then the 1st district is very Democratic, and then there are 2 districts. The 4th and the 5th are equally Republican. So yeah. Now, this is a map that I think is. It's not really a gerrymander for either party, but I think it does have favor the Republicans a little bit, because in a red wave they could win 4, possibly 5 of these. Or no, wait, my bad. Right now, this is a map where the Democratic Party holds 4 out of 7 seats, and this is in a red wave. The Republicans could pick up 5 out of 7. So I don't think that would be the case, but this map I think does favor the Republicans to a certain extent. So we're just going to close this tab. Just wanted to get into it. And first, we're going to do a Democratic gerrymander, Republican gerrymander, and then the fair map. So just to talk about what election we're going to be using. We are not going to be using a 2016 president, because that was a race that was decided by only 3%, which is far more Republican. Like, just look at the precincts. This map is really, really red when you compare it to the 2020 map. So I think we're going to probably use Governor 2018, which was, actually, we should just pull this up to compare it. Right here, this was a race that Jared Polis won by around 10.5%. This was a 13-point Biden state. So we're just going to use this 2018 governor data set, because it's the closest we're going to get to kind of recreating the coalition for Biden. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to be doing. If I can get this to turn on, then here we go. So with that being said, we should get started, because this could go for a very long time. So we're just going to adjust the menu. I always somehow screw up the menu, so I think. Alright, here we go. This is how I like it. Let's not mess up the menu. So, we are going to start by, for the Democrats, and also there are no, Colorado, I don't think that there needs to be a majority-minority district, because there wasn't any on the previous map. So, let's get started, and take a look at, this is Denver, and then, there's some other big cities, like this, El Paso, this Pueblo down here, but essentially, we're going to be focused on cracking Denver into as many districts as we can, and we don't really have any rules we need to follow to really, because there don't need it's not required for there to be, any majority minority districts. I don't believe. Now, if I'm wrong, which would be really bad because I'm going to be spending a lot of time on this map, do correct me, and I might actually make a redo episode, I guess. But we're just me cracking this district, or the Colorado, into as many districts as we can for the Democratic gerrymander, because obviously this map is going to favor the Democrats. So right now, this is a pretty Democratic district. We're just going to try to round this out to make it look a little better. Although, do not be mistaken, this map's going to look very ugly at the end. And there's just these areas over here that are more Republican. And we're just going to kind of round this all out, grab some Republican areas, grab some Democratic areas, and I'll get back to you when I'm done with the 2nd district, which is going to be hopefully very soon for you. If I can figure out how to click this button, which it's making me click more than one time. All right, so this first, or the 2nd district, actually, the first I'm doing, kind of takes a big chunk of Denver, then extends out to the rural northern part, and it's a district that's going to have a Democratic lean. It's competitive, but the Democrats would have an advantage here. It is contiguous. The Democrats would have around a 9.5-point advantage here. Now, originally I was just going to crack Denver as many times as I could, but I think we're actually going to use a different strategy, and we're going to just try to pack the Republicans all into one district. So we're just going to use the county tool to select all the counties that we want, and just pack the GOP into as many districts as we can. So this is a strategy, packing and cracking. For those of you who don't know, and I'll multitask. I'm going to cut out a big chunk of me doing these maps, but just for some commentary. There are essentially the two main elements of gerrymandering are packing and cracking. Where you pack the Republicans into, or in this scenario, I'm packing the Republicans into one very safe district to sacrifice that essentially for other districts. And there's cracking, where I cracked Denver to make strips of, it like usually look like it looks kind of like a strip. Like I'm cracking a big chunk of Denver to make it dilute the influence of some other Republican voters. So we're just going to keep packing the Republicans into this district. It's my goal is for it to be a very Republican district that's not winnable for Democrats. Now, what I could do is I could make a map that is 8-0, that has 8 districts being Democratic leaning, but they'd all be very competitive, and it would be a dummy manner, meaning that one bad election and they'd all fall over. So the safe strategy for the Democrats here would be for me to just draw a one district that would just take away all their Republican votes, then we can make some more Democratic districts. So yeah, and I'll get back to you when I finish this Republican vote sync. So I have finished this district. It's probably the most it's probably going to be pretty big compared to the other districts in terms of land size. Now, taking a look at the statistics, this district is 2-1 Republican. It is 80% white. Well, that's satisfying. It's exactly 80% white and 20% interesting. It's 80% white, and it's going to be our vote sync for the GOP. And as you can see, we basically took a lot of red and packed it into one district. So we're now going to go back to our original plan, which was going to crack. I was going to crack Denver into as many districts as I can, but just to briefly look at. These are some suburban areas, and I put some of them in this district, but, these are Denver suburbs, and they're already pretty blue. I mean, like, if we just, plugged in maybe I'm trying to find it. I wish that they had, I'm not going to do that, but if they had the 2014 Senate race, I'm sure that we'd be able to see a lot of light red over here, because the suburbs are trending blue, and this map will not only I hope for this map will not only favor the Democrats, but I think it's going to hopefully for them trend towards them. So I'm gonna take these areas down here, these light red areas here. We're gonna collect those, and we're just gonna dump them all into this one district that's gonna. And I'm going to make it a suburban Denver district that's going to be Democratic leaning, that will be trending towards the Democrats. That's my goal for this district, so I'll get back to you when I'm done with this one. Okay, I'm back, and I bet you missed me. So, we now have a district that not only consists of suburban Denver, but also loops around towards a little bit of El Paso, the more suburban part of El Paso, if that's even a thing. And it is so far our most competitive district, but is trending towards the Democrats, especially due to the northern suburban Denver part. So this district is around D+6 or D plus 5.5, more like it's 83% white, which is it's interesting that this is a blue district, but it's more white than this Republican district, and that's probably because I'll show you something cool that I can do. It's really because these suburban of white voters are very Democratic, and there are probably some rural Hispanics in this district over here that are more conservative. So we can actually filter these precincts by Hispanic, by the most Hispanics, and this precinct is, for example, this is just one example, is majority Hispanic, right? It was a Republican precinct. based on what we know about politics, there should not be majority Hispanic precincts that are Republican, but there are, which I just find really interesting. Just to briefly take a look at that one. Now, I'm going to kind of go over here to these northern cities like Larimer as well as Weld to a certain extent. We're just going to kind of fill in, hopefully, Weld, get Larimer involved, and that's going to be a narrow Democratic district. So I just did a big chunk. I just thank God for the county tool because, or thank gosh, actually, I don't like to take the Lord's name in vain. But you know, we can really just save ourselves a lot of time by taking this. By using this county tool to select some counties, fill in some negative space, and then just add some more Democratic precincts to make this a bit more solid for the Democratic Party. Just to do that, we're just going to finish this district off. We can analyze it in a second, but I just want to, that was quicker than I thought, because I don't want to be, because I'm sure most of you know, and I'm going to talk while I do this because I don't like to cut parts out too much, but these videos, these take a while, and that's why I'm not going to post them every day. I'm going to post them once or twice a week, maybe, but, these videos take a while. So, it's relieving when I can, get a big chunk of stuff done. So this district is kind of similar, or the fourth is kind of similar to the third. Different coalition, so I imagine it's a little bit more diverse. It's barely a little more diverse, but it's more competitive. It's a D+5 district, and I'm not even sure if it's trending towards the Democrats, but, it kind of relies on them getting turnout from these larger, medium-sized, Weld, Larimer, and to a certain extent, basically to a certain extent, Boulder's down here, but, suburban Boulder could actually be helping the trend towards the Democrats. So I'm not sure if it's trending blue or trending red. But what I guess we could do is we could try to make an educated guess and filter. Let's look at the 2016 presidential data. Yeah, this would have been a Trump district in 2016, so how about composite? Yeah, so maybe Trump did well here for whatever reason. I'm not really sure. Maybe senator, although the senator was a pretty Democratic election, but it's these districts are going to be interesting to see. But I guess I'm gauging it's kind of a Democratic trending district. I'm not sure though. Now let's we're going to return to kind of this area up here, Denver. We're going to try to crack Denver. All right, so let's see if we can fill in this. I did not want to do that. Let's fill in. Okay, so you have this. So since I was lazy, I did use a big paint tool. So we're gonna actually take a big chunk of Denver right here, and we're just gonna expand it to go over. Oh, this is a lot of blue. This district, I can tell you right now, everyone. This district is gonna look ugly. This is not going to be a pretty district. This is not a Giga Chad district. This is not going to be a district that's satisfying. This is going to be a gerrymandered district, and just watch. So we've got 324,000 Denver voters, and we're just going to kind of bring this down here, make it expand into these more Republican areas. Let's make a staircase so it doesn't look terrible, but it's still going to look really bad because, watch, we're just going to expand this like so. And yeah, we have a district that looks very, very bad. It goes from Denver, and then it just kind of takes some Republican areas around here. So it's still a pretty solid district for the Democratic Party. I mean, just looking at it, this is a D+18.5 district, and it's 75% white, 3/4 white, and the quarter minority. So yeah, but the district is actually, it's better than I thought. It looks really bad, but it's actually decently balanced. Like, it actually matches the electorate of Colorado pretty well, both in terms of partisanship and demographics. So now we're just kind of try to make a kind of go off script here and just make a Democratic district by filling some counties. So and try to make these districts as solid as they can be for the Democrats. So that's what we're going to do right here. And we've kind of created a very, this district is uglier than the 5th district, but it's equally as partisan. It definitely has a Democratic lean. It's around D+10.5, or yeah, basically that. And with that, we have now completed 6 out of our 8 districts, which, in case you don't know how to do math, I'm assuming most of you do. You guys are probably better at math than I am. Is 3/4 of the map. So, and actually, this is easy because now all we have to do is just use the county fill to create one more district, and then we were basically done. So, and as you can see, there's a bit of a population imbalance in that it's basically all we have left is some parts of Denver. So yeah, now I'm gonna try to make these districts both safe, democratic, which I think right now is pretty likely. So I think we're about finished with our democratic gerrymander map, and I'm gonna get back to you when I'm done with these two districts, so we can look at it and then move on to our Republican map, where we're going to be drawing as many Republican districts as we can. Now, for our states that we're going to gerrymander, the Republicans are obviously the minority party in Colorado. For the states that like for them like they're going to gerrymander, or it's the minority party, it's not going to happen. So like it doesn't really have to be that realistic. So I'm just going to attempt to basically just draw as many districts as I can without them being very safe. So that's what we're going to do for the GOP in the state of Colorado. And now with that being said, we are completely done with our map of Colorado, assuming there are no, assuming there's nothing that I messed up on. So we have a pretty good map for Democrats. Now, another thing about the 4th and the 3rd district could be more solidified, but, I think this is a pretty good map for them, assuming there's no all these districts are contiguous. There's only a 0.2% population deviation, which is pretty good. And we're now going to use some different data sets to see how this looks. So Donald Trump would have won 2 of these districts in 2016. So this is basically the GOP's best case scenario in Colorado at this point. They'd only flip one more district. So again, pretty solid map in 2016. I think Bennett would have won all but the 1st district. Governor 2018, we just saw that. So the first very, very Republican. Like I doubt it would even be competitive in a super Democratic year. So yeah. So I think that's going to be it for the Democratic gerrymander of Colorado. And we're going to now move on to our GOP gerrymander of Colorado. And we're going to kind of do the opposite. We're going to pack the Democratic Party into Denver. So we're going to just try to find some counties. Now, Denver County itself is basically the size of a congressional district, but it's kind of a weird county shape, and we're just going to have to take out a few parts like this. I'm going to add this part back and add that part back. Just try to make this look a little better. But I think other than that, this is a pretty the county border is very convenient for me because it's basically the size of a congressional district, and I can just make it look a little better. And we are basically good to go with this first Democratic vote sync. And I'm just going to use the block feature to try to make this district. Oh wait, no, hold on. Did I find something good? No, whatever, I didn't. I thought I saw a precinct that had 400 people, but whatever. Maybe I'm going crazy. But I think with this, we can. This is our first vote sync. It's a very Democratic district, and it kind of stretches across the parts. Whatever. I guess I'm just take that part out and then put a Republican area in somewhere. Take one more precinct out. Okay, so we're basically can now be at ease with this, and we're just gonna try to pack the Democrats into 3 of these 8 districts. Now again, this map's gonna be very, very weird to look at, but whatever. So that this could be we're gonna try to take out these Republican areas down here, make this map or this district as Democratic as possible. So I'll get back to you when I'm finished with this district, which is going to be interesting to see how it turns out. So, it turns out that, whoops, I did not mean to turn on city lines. So it turns out that these Democratic areas over here are bigger than I thought in terms of population. There are more people who live in these areas than I thought. So we're actually probably going to end up creating one more Democratic vote sync, which is a little disappointing because I wanted to see if I can make a 6-2 GOP map of Colorado, but we're going to end up with maybe a 5-3 map. I'm gonna have to see. I'm just gonna try to get. First of all, Larimer County needs to be cleaned up. I'm just gonna. Sometimes I wish these counties were really big, and sometimes I wish they were really small, depending on the mood I'm in, depending on the state I'm trying to gerrymander. But I'm just gonna try to pack the Democrats into another district by using Larimer, and Larimer's only a medium-sized city. It's very, very subjective on what we consider to be a big city. Now, for me, just to personally to kill some time, because I don't want to cut this part out. For me personally, I think that cities of above 100,000 are big, but most people don't do that. Most people think it's just the other, that it's like, cities above 1 million or 500,000 are big, or that, cities in between 100,000 and 500,000 are medium-sized cities. But whatever, you know, that's just my take. Like, you guys probably disagree, and to be fair, I do love rural places, even as a person who does not necessarily live in a rural place, which I guess I just gave away. Kind of. I think I eliminated the county. Actually, in a video that I'm going to be releasing soon, I made a joke about the county because people have asked me what county I live in, and I said, and I've been thinking about this for a while, like on my Twitter account. I was thinking, what if every day I revealed a county in America that I don't live in, and that would take, because there are like 3,000 counties in America or something. That would take so many years to do. But you guys know that I live in California. Most of you do. So, yeah, we're just gonna have to see what. Oh no, that's gonna be annoying. So we're just gonna have to see uh, what people think, because people have speculated where I live, and I'm not gonna. And I don't plan on revealing exactly where I live. State's pretty. California's a pretty big state, so I feel safe like revealing what state I live in, but still, I'm not gonna say what county I live in. But I do say in a video that's gonna drop sometime that I uh do not live in San Bernardino County. So if you were thinking that I live in San Bernardino County, that's not where I live, I guess. So I think that now that we've completed this part. Okay, so I think that this is good enough for a Democratic vote sync. I mean, again, these districts look ugly, but the rest of the map is pretty Republican. So we're going to now attempt to make the rest of these districts Republican. So first, we're just gonna. This is kind of like a weirdly Democratic area. We're just gonna try to pack, see what's gonna go on here. If we can get these Democrats into this district right here. This is already a Republican district. Let's see what's going on. And we're going to try to make a very competitive Republican district. So we're just going to get these Democratic areas over here into this district. And yeah, this district looks like a very narrow Democratic district, or a very narrow Republican district, depends on the map you're using. But since we're using this 2018 governor data set, I feel confident that's going to be accurate to the best of its abilities, or accurate to the best of our abilities. A data set does not have abilities, just so you guys know. Oh, wait, is this just one county? Well, this is just one county. Interesting. But yeah. Now, going over here, we should just probably grab some more Democratic precincts so that we can round this out with maybe like an R+2 district or something like that. Maybe R+5, depending on how Democratic these areas are. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about as. Yeah, that's pretty much as blue as I want to go. Yeah, I don't want to make this like an R+0.5 district. That would be very, very annoying to deal with for a couple of reasons, but because it would be so closely determined. But yeah, I think we're just gonna pack some more Republican areas into this district, and we're gonna call it a district. I was about to say that we're gonna call it a day, but that would not be accurate because this video is gonna go on forever. This video is gonna be a pretty long video, so you might as well grab some coffee because you're gonna either get very bored of hearing me talk for a while, or something like that. So it looks like we are finished with our. So it looks like we are finished with this district over here, and this district appears to be a district that is going to be like R+2 or something is my guess. Yeah, this is an R+2.04 district. So yeah, and I'm now gonna cut off the recording. Try to create a few more districts, and I'll update you on where we are at that point. All right, so I think I've now done. By now, 2 districts off screen, and they are the 5th and the 6th district. They are both very narrow GOP districts. This 5th is closer than the 6th. But let's look at it. So first of all, the 5th is not contiguous, so it's definitely not final, but I'm actually going to make sure, see, not contiguous. Oh, now I see. It's just barely non-contiguous. So we are going to, actually, let's just see this. I'm just going to, whoa. Let's see. Right, there we go. So I don't know how that happened, but we now only have 2 districts left, and I'm actually curious to see what the partisan leans of these districts are going to be, because I'm just like, again, I'm not sure at this point whether I'm going to be able to make some Democratic districts or not, but it looks like actually it actually looks pretty good for the GOP, unless, wait, no, yeah. I read that wrong. I was like, wait a minute, that's not, okay, here we go. So, I'm gonna, yeah, so I'm just gonna pack this district with a more Republican precincts, and then we're gonna be done with this, this gerrymandered map of Colorado for the GOP. It took a little shorter for the GOP, mostly because it's easier to gerrymander stuff for the Republicans than it is for the Democrats. But yeah, so I think that's going to be it. And then we're going to just fill in this, and assuming that somehow this isn't Democratic district, which would be very annoying if it was. Whoa, okay. Well, first of all, we are missing 19,000 people, so we're going to have to find unassigned precincts. Oh, it's this area. That's annoying. Okay, well, the good news is we can just kind of transfer. It's this area. We can just kind of give this all to this district and then transfer population from here down to here. Yeah. Which I'm gonna give them. Yeah, I wish there was a way. Yeah, well, whatever. So we're just gonna go up to Denver and grab some Democratic precincts because there is more room for error on the 8th district than this other district. But I think that with that being said, we have a pretty solid map at this point. So assume this is not. Yeah, so that's it. There is a 0.25% population deviation. Turn off landmarks. I don't know why those are on. Labels. Lane, and this is our gerrymandered map of Colorado. So there are 3 Democratic or safe Democratic districts. Is this contiguous? No, it's not. Oh, it is. It's barely barely contiguous. So we've got 8 districts, 5 of which lean Republican, but only the 8th is actually pretty safe for them. And we can actually just look at, person 2016. And the 4th district could actually be more competitive. And Trump actually did pretty well here. He would have won all these districts by a lot. Michael Bennet, he would have lost them by a lot. And it looks like this 8th district is actually pretty solid for the GOP. So I think that, for time constraints, I think we should move on to this fair map, which is going to be the most fun map to make because fun is fair. Fair is fun. My bad, not fun is fair. So the goal for this fair map is going to be, there are 8 districts. I'm going to make 5 pretty Democratic districts, 2 Republican districts. I'm just going to make 1 district that would have a Democratic lean to make it kind of a 6-2 map, but at the same time, it's flippable for the GOP. So we're going to do that right now. And now, as you can see, I have made the district. This district is around D plus 4 or 5. So, taking a look at this district, this is a district actually D plus 6.5, and it's 82% white. So these are mostly urban and suburban white voters who are pushing this district towards the Democrats. So now we're gonna do 5 Democratic districts, 2 Republican districts. I'm gonna do the Republican districts first. So we're gonna kind of trying to make these districts for both parties as safe as possible, making it very hard for the other party to win them, kind of the goal here. Now, I don't want this to be like a pack for the GOP, but I do want this to be a district that certainly favors them and would not be flippable for the Democratic Party unless they had a huge wave. So that's what I'm going to be doing for this district. And then for the other one, it's probably going to be similar to Lauren Boebert's district. But I'll try to make it a little more Republican than Boebert, maybe like an R plus 12 to 15 district. But, one of these more GOP districts could actually end up being somewhat competitive, flippable for a Democrat in like a D plus 10 or 11 year, maybe. But again, I'm not really sure. So then I'm going to kind of just add in these more Republican areas, and I'll get back to you when I'm done with this congressional district. So yeah, it's basically it's pretty similar to the current one. It's a very Republican district. It is 62% Republican, 37% Democratic. And now I'm going to try to make this other Republican district, and I'm going to make it just out of yellow, or actually we'll make it this color. So coloring this in, I'm going to kind of go over here, and this looks similar to Lauren Boebert's district. As you can see, Boebert does have a district that is, it's a Republican leaning for sure, but it is flippable for the Democrats. There's talk about the Democrats flipping that seat or making it more favorable to them in 2020. 2. But for now, I'm going to try to just make this district as red as I can, trying to add some more Republican precincts, and we will see what it's gonna look like when I'm done with this district. So yeah, this 7th congressional district of Colorado is a D, or is R plus 15, which is kind of what I wanted, and this part does kind of go up, but it's kind of designed to follow county lines of Park County. So just wanted to clarify that. And now we're going to get into our more Democratic districts, which are going to be easier to do because we can kind of just fill in some counties and see where it takes us. So over here, these are very Democratic areas, of course. Fill in Boulder, fill in Jefferson. Actually, I'm not going to do that. So this district here is going to be kind of filling in these other areas and then coming along to Boulder and maybe suburban Denver. But it's suburban Denver, as I mentioned throughout this video, is a very, very Democratic area. Relative to other suburbs, it's pretty blue. So, it's not like it's going to be making this district any more competitive. It's probably going to just make it, stay where it is. It's not going to really have an effect on it when I do add it in. So, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to add suburban, this is kind of more suburban Denver, I feel like, although you can kind of define it as different places. So yeah, now I'm going to finish this congressional district because this video is going to run long, and I'm going to do I'm actually going to finish all the Democratic districts, and I'll show you what it looks like when I am finished with creating these districts. Okay, so I just finished working on the 4th district, and something interesting happened. So there was more Republican support kind of in the El Paso area than I originally expected, so I kind of had to make this district look a little uglier, and it's going to be a little more competitive. So this district, the 4th district, I think is what it is going to actually be more competitive. It's around D plus 9, so it's flippable for the Republicans. I wouldn't bet on it though, and transfer for the Democrats here. Just thought I'd point this out, and it looks kind of like a strip district. It goes from El Paso, then connects into Denver, but just thought I'd mention that really quickly. So yeah, this map it went a little differently than I expected, and I actually do have to fix District 6, which appears to not be contiguous. But essentially, I'm just gonna figure this out. Essentially, what we have is a map that is going to certainly. I just need to make sure the population deviation is correct. This map it's definitely not what I thought it was, and I'll show you why in a second. So I'm going to turn off precinct lines, turn on district lines, labels, then do partisan leans. So the 5th and 4th districts are more competitive than I thought, but it kind of makes up for it's made up for by the fact that they're both trending blue, and basically all these districts except the 3rd are trending blue. So it's kind of made up. It doesn't really matter. These districts will be flippable for a Republican in a wave, which is why in a year where the Republicans would somehow get a 2014-esque Senate performance, they'd win of these 9 districts, 5 or maybe in between 4 and 6 districts, 6 at best for in a wave. But right now they'd probably only be winning 2. I mean, we can look at data sets. Whoops, I did not want to do that. Trump might have actually carried in 2016. Trump might have actually carried 3 or 4 of these districts. If we turn that on, yeah, Trump would have actually carried 3 of these districts. He would have carried the 5th before carrying the 2nd, which is interesting. But it's very subjective. We're gonna have to see what these trends, and if anything, the 2018 governor data, Polis ran behind Biden by I think 3%. So this data is, if anything, underestimating Democrats. But this is my fair map of Colorado. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you all in the next one. Tell me what state you want me to do. Goodbye.